Hello everybody, and today we are going to be covering dynamic active effects. It is the module that has taken the place of dynamic effects. Some preface, hopefully this video will mark better times. Last video, if you have watched it, it was covering MIDI quality, which is broken at the time of recording, and has changed since then. And as well, my new video recording software. For that video, starting that video, I tried it out. The levels, volume levels rather, were too low for most people. I switched back to my previous recording software. So hopefully that fixes it. Hopefully I'm a bit louder. Hopefully I'm not too loud. Hopefully everything's in order. So let's get in. What is dynamic active effects, and why and how is it different than dynamic effects? So why is, so with 7.5, 0.7.5 to be exact, active effects are now a feature within Foundry. That said, you still need dynamic active effects to do what we're doing in this video. But these values, these callings, these effects are in Foundry itself, in its code. It's not baked into this module. This module is sort of accessing it and adding to what is possible. What is new is quite a few things, actually. So one, it's a bit buggy right now. If you don't try to test it, though, it's completely fine. I heartily recommend that you just get into it now. No need to wait for any kind of bug fixes. It is being worked on actively, and I've not noticed any problems. They say that you won't notice problems unless you stretch the module, unless you stretch these active effects. I have stretched it to its limits, and I have not found many problems. All the problems I had found are actually due to having dynamic effects heavily integrated into my game previously. All dynamic effects are now useless. They are deprecated along with the module. But fear not for those who have a large range of dynamic effects active. We will be going over a way to not seamlessly, but a little bit easier than doing it manually, porting these over to dynamic active effects. So the first thing you'll want to do is you will want to install dynamic active effects. It will be by the same user, tponzi or Ponce. I still never say it right. I'm not good with names. You will want to go in. It's already activated for me. It went down. Forgot alphabetical order for a second. You will want to go ahead and activate it. It's right here, by the way. And you will want to disable dynamic effects. As soon as that is done, you will want to post it to the console. So that will be F12. At least for Windows users. I'm not a Mac user, so I do apologize. But the equivalent for you to open up your console on Mac or Linux, I'm not sure if it's different. I'm not a big user outside of Windows. So you will want to put in this code right here, DAE.migrate all actors, bracket, close bracket, or parentheses, close parentheses, sorry, DAE.migrate all items, parentheses, close parentheses. I will be posting this in the description, so no worries of typing it out yourself. You will want to press enter, and you should see this. So I have a lot. Hopefully I didn't break anything, too bad. It probably did, but, worth it for the video. This is my main game because I found that newer games are a bit finicky at the moment. That being said, following these videos, you should get things set up perfectly fine. Now, So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and, so the subject of the last video that we used was the globe of sunlight. We used that last video to sort of show off dynamic active effects. Hold on a second. That's a bit embarrassing. I was testing some stuff for my game. I do apologize for that. So, what we're going to do is we are going to test the same thing to sort of show you in comparison to what we did last time. Let's switch these over actually, just because my strange OCD quite likes that. One being on this side, two being on this side. Okay, so globe of sunlight. Yeah, okay, that's number one, just want to make sure. Yes, so this is globe of sunlight. So, if you remember last time, we set it up to cover a 60 feet radius, do all the damage, what dynamic effects takes care of, or dynamic active effects, I should say, is it's going to be applying the blinded effect to the creature for the time set. So, as before, there are a few modules required to have dynamic effects work, and I will go over those shortly, just like I did in the previous video, and just like the previous video, I will also go over why you need them. First, you're going to need dynamic active effects. That is the meat of what's going on here. That is basically the the crux of everything we're going to be doing in this video. Another important one is mid-equal. You do not need it for active effects if you want just items that work in your inventory, but for applying spell effects and item effects and weapon effects like I'm going to be doing here, you will want to have mid-equality. So not minor quality. Minor quality is now deprecated in favor of mid-equality. It is also by the same user as dynamic active effects, Ponzi, whichever one. And we are also going to want, right here, we are going to want about time and calendar/weather. So what about time does is adds a internal clock into your game. I do apologize for all the clearing my throat. I don't know what's going on with that today. Calendar/weather adds this interface. Okay, so calendar/weather is not required to have timed effects, but it is highly useful to have calendar/weather for an interface for advancing time and keeping track of time, and it's also just a nice module to have. But that being said, it is completely optional, as you know, technically ARB is about time, but if you want timed effects, about time is definitely required. So about time adds a internal clock, but all of it is done without a UI. You would need to use macros and chat commands in order to advance anything or control anything. This adds a nice UI for configuration, creating your own years, eras, days, months, etc. And even for creating holidays, even moons and cycles and all this good stuff. It is a great module. I highly recommend it. All this is available within about time. However, it's just a bit more finicky with having to do with chat commands and stuff. Okay, without further ado, let us get into it. So test one, right? He wants to use globe of sunlight to apply these effects. So mid-equality will be doing the saving throws, the damage that you're going to be seeing, and we'll go over what exactly is active effects. So this is the new, I'll move this out from behind it just so you get a clear picture. This is the new, so I almost forgot, the main rule is you do not want to be using items you don't want to be editing items in the inventory. How things are transferred into the inventory have changed a little bit to the user. Active effects are now embedded directly on the user, So you don't want to be editing things while they're in the inventory. This will be a feature in the future, however, it is not working soundly currently. It is actually not even meant to be out currently. It was a mistake by the creator, but he has added the experimental now. And instead of reverting it, which I quite like, because I like to, test some things out ahead of time and see how things are working. So we go into Active Effects the correct way. So you will see that we have now no more tab. There used to be a, right here, it would be a little bit extended, and there would be a dynamic effects tab. And now we have active effects up here. You get this nice little drop-out menu, or this pop-up menu. Enables when equipped is the same as before. So when this item is equipped, if it is a, say a sword, if it is equipped, it will apply those effects, but it does not. It always enabled means if the item is in the inventory, it is enabled. And this refers to all items and all effects on this. But each item can have effects that are not conferred with being equipped or in inventory. This sort of just means the overall it will have this effect. And this is sort of just, sort of like for spells, this is just a sorting menu. So we will go ahead and, first off, we're going to be wanting to add blinded. How to add conditions has changed. It is no longer in the regular menu section when you are adding an active effect or an effect in general. It is now here. It's kind of hard to see. So here is where you will click to create a new effect. Right here is where you will be getting your conditions. Sorry. I will note now that conditions are not entirely dependent on, but it is heavily useful to have computer. It might actually be dependent now. It didn't used to be, but it's safe to get cub. So cub, you don't have to use any of the features that cub combat utility belt provides. You only need to use the condition lab. The condition lab comes pre-faced with all the base conditions that come within 5e. And you can add your own. So I added slow, which is my own personal condition that I added, and affected, which is also my own personal condition I added. You do not have to add your own. It is not required. It comes with all of these and their journal entries as well, and we'll go over what that means. So we're going to head and go into this menu and click blinded before we create a new effect. You will see that now there are effect labels. These will appear in the character's active effects on that character if they are affected by, say, blinded. You can name the label. You can change the effect icon, so you don't have to have the same effect icon for everything. You can even have spells that have time stuff that don't confer conditions apply icons. So this is helpful for keeping track of abstract ideas like spells that confer advantage, spells that confer a 1d plus bonus. That being said, 1d plus bonuses can be applied with dynamic effects. We won't go over that in this video, but if you would like to see how to do those kinds of bonuses in the future, let me know, and that could be the topic of our next video. But it's just very useful for applying a good example is comprehend languages. You can have an effect that has the icon for the spell icon that you use for comprehend languages, and so you will understand that that character is affected by comprehend languages until that icon that is going to be attached to their token, sort of like how conditions are already being done, is removed. Icon tint color is great, so even if you want to use the regular condition icons that are provided with both with both Foundry and with the condition lab, you can also tint the color. So say, excuse me again, I am so sorry about that, it's very rude of me. You can tint the color to say differentiate it from other effects. So if you're dealing with a lot of spells in one instance, or you expect to be deal with a lot of spells that say confer the charmed effect, you can have, or just abilities or anything that confers the charmed effect, you could have the charmed, you could have the same icon for each of them, but just have each spell have a different tint color to their charmed token. This is obviously blinded, which, you know, it interchangeable. So you could, tell the difference of what is affected by what. And of course, it is now easier also to see who is affected by what, but just go into the sheet and look at active effects, and we'll see that kind of in action in a second here. Effect suspended. I haven't used it actually, and I actually don't know what it does. So I do apologize about that. That's new. That was not there the last time I checked, so I am honestly unsure what this does. I'll have to look into that, and I will apply that to the description down below. Transfer effect on actor equipped. You do not want this for spells and abilities that apply conditions when they damage, or if, in other words, offensive spells that apply certain effects, detrimental effects. You only want this for, say, an armor that when you wear it applies a certain effect. So you want to have this checked off. It is always checked by default. So mind that. Stackable means that this condition, this effect, this active effect, can be applied multiple times. So not very useful for this, but say you have a spell like that. Oh, I can't think of a good good example, but say a spell that gives you a plus 1 on athletic checks. But it's stackable if it's cast multiple times on the same character. So you can add stackable, so that means every time that spell is cast, it doesn't replace it like it used to. This is a new thing that specific to dynamic active effects. That means it can be stackable, which means you will get a if you apply it, so that +1 will become a +2 if it's cast again on the same character, +3, +4, etc. as long as that is being cast on it. Effect origin. This is currently non-offerable, so do not worry about this. It might be operable in the future, but currently it doesn't do anything. It is a blank sort of value. Effect duration. This is only important if the item in question does not have a time. Where did I put my? Goodness gracious. I do apologize. Okay, so let us go over. Okay, don't know what happened there. This only matters if you do not have a duration specified in the item sheet. But if you do not, the great thing about this section that was not available in dynamic effects is that now you can add your own specific times to items that don't have times for one reason or another. And now effects. Effects are not important because technically all you had to have done for this one is just click the plus button, disable this, submit changes. When we are creating things that have bonuses, we'll just do this for the sake of learning. There are plenty of bonuses that you can add. The great thing about dynamic active effects is you can have different modes. Before it was just add and override, which used to be equal. So it used to be a plus and used to be an equal sign. Now there's add and override, which are add and equal. So override will override a effect. So if, say, a potion of strength, you want it to be override 25, and you want that to obviously be abilities strength. You can multiply, so that means a item will multiply by the number put. So 3, it will multiply the ability charisma, say modifier, by 3. Add would add 3 So if you had a 5 and you had a 3, you would have an 8. Downgrade means that it will go down to 3 if 3 is not already the lowest. If it's already lower. So say you have a 2, if you have 3 there, it won't have any effect. It will not minus 3. It will only go to 3 if it's above 3. So if it's 4, it'll go down to 3. If it's 20, it'll go down to 3. Upgrade is the same thing, vice versa. If 3 is your maximum, it will not plus by 3. It will just stay 3. But if you have a minus 1, it'll go to 3. If you have a minus 20, it'll go to 3. And then override again is equal. Custom is different. Custom works on strings values. This is what you want to use if you are adding bonuses like 1d4. You can do that for add and multiply. However, custom will allow you to do 1d4 plus 1. If you try to do 1d4 plus another thing in add, multiply, etc., it would be 1d41. 1d43. It won't work. They're working on different values. This is working on a string, and the other is working on sort of just base values. Effect priority is a very cool effect, a very cool thing. So effect priority, it means when this will take effect over other effects. With lowest number being the highest priority, so 1 will always happen before 2, and 2 will always happen before 3, etc., and so on. So why is this useful? So say you have an effect that gives you a +2 to your AC, and you have an effect that gives you a +3 to your AC. Priority will determine which one applies, since they obviously can't, well, okay, that's wrong. They can obviously both apply if they're plus. So an override, so say 1 overrides your armor class from 10 plus your dex score to 10 plus your strength score. Some kind of effect does that. Then you have another one that says it takes your AC and makes it 10 plus your intelligence score instead. If strength is the first priority, it will always apply that first, and then the intelligence will take over because it is sort of applying last. So first will always apply first, but doesn't mean it's always going to be chosen over. It just means when they will be sort of done in concession. You should always just you can always just leave it 20 unless you have a specific mechanic in mind that might mess with it and that you want to do that. This is very advanced. You don't have to mess with all this. Usually it just works fine leaving it out. Let's get rid of that because we don't need any of that. Submit changes. So now when so it's a little awkward that these are opening up different areas. So now we have this effect, and we're going to close that. We are going to now use Globe of Sunlight, consume available uses, use on use, place measure template. We are going to want to only target this creature. Okay, well, we targeted myself. Luckily, however, only one of us failed. So test fails and test, well, that's not very helpful. Okay. So you can go to your active effects and you can find out, this is very useful for this instance, okay. It seems my bad luck isn't over yet, folks. Let us go ahead and add this back. Oh, that's my bad. It wasn't my bad luck. It was the old effect in there, wasn't it? I didn't pay attention. Okay. Try number 2. And I am so sorry that I am such a mess. But I'm not comfortable with doing these sort of videos, but I like doing them nonetheless to help people out. especially since Roll20 sort of has a lot of this over it, and I prefer this over Roll20, and I think more people should do videos on stuff. But a lot of people are covering the basics, and I think eventually it'll grow, and better people will be doing videos for these modules in the future, for your guys' sake. Okay, so did it save? Yeah, it saved. If I had editing, I would do this. I wouldn't have to do it like this. Okay, it failed. Hallelujah, right? Okay, I might look into learning how to edit in the future so we don't have to deal with that. Because it could have been a disaster if it took longer than normal. Yes. So now it is applied with blinded. So I told you before that with Cubs Condition Lab, it will have journals for each sort of effect. I think those go into, you know, I have no idea what that actually goes into. I might have moved it around, so I do apologize. I don't keep things in their base slots, and I haven't touched it since. But there is an area where the journals are. It'll be a lot easier to see if you're using Cub Fresh. So you can click on this, and you can see the journal entry. So you can get a quick reference when something is, conferred with a condition. And just in case you forget, maybe you're a new DM, maybe you're just juggling a lot at once, maybe you're just terrible with memory like I am and just need a refresher sometimes. There's no shame in it. Everybody has, no one can be a perfect memory bank. So, token number 2 will now have this. The great part of this is it shows you, so before you had to use a macro with dynamic effects to see all the active effects on a creature. You no longer need to do that, and that means you can delete effects. So let's say we had 1,000,000 effects, and one didn't technically have a time limit for one reason or another. Maybe it has a very specific time limit, and you need to do it yourself. Lo and behold, you can now delete effects, and it will delete the condition, etc., everything. It will tell you how long an effect should last, will last, etc. Now, let us go ahead. So if we were running combat, time would move 6 seconds at a time, and this would, go over as normal. But we are not going to, go into combat and click next round 1,000,000 times. We're going to go ahead and advance 1 minute. Remove the condition. The effect is off, and the effect is off of the token. So once again, we have gone over and we have sort of learned how to apply conditions with dynamic active effects. Previously, dynamic effects. Now with a new painted coat. Now with some new, usability. I understand that is going to be a bit of a learning curve. Hopefully this video helps you. I was completely lost at first. It was a new UI. It was I knew everything, and I was just lost. I was kind of mad. I won't lie. I was a little upset. I was cursing change. I was like, I hate change. Why? Everything is broken. My Saint players took 1 shot for the week. I have 2 weeks to fix everything. And you didn't even need the 2 weeks. I fixed everything lickety split because, yes, it's a bit of a learning curve. But if you have the proper help like I did, it is a smooth transition from dynamic effects. And for new users, it's not that hard to learn when you get down to brass tacks. Hopefully this video helped you out, as the people that helped me out. If you have questions or concerns or things I didn't cover in this video, let me know down below. There are so many things I have not covered in this video. This video is only covering how to confer conditions, and yet somehow this video is already still going on 29 minutes because I am the master of Lego talk and rambling. Let alone, we have learned conditions at long last. What do you want to learn how to do in dynamic effects next? Now, dynamic active effects, sorry, that's going to get some getting used to, take some getting used to. I will note that I will be putting all the modules that I used or that were utilized in this video down below in the description. So It will be linked to their GitHub page, or their Foxhound. It's another sort of file compiling page that some people use over GitHub. But I will be posting whatever they use to host their project in the description. But you know, if you're using Foundry or Forge, both of those you could just type in the name. But for those who like to do it manually, there you go. I'll be doing that, and also so you can just get the name easily. I will also be putting down in the description the command to sort of copy over dynamic effects into dynamic active effects. Remember, that is not seamless. You will want to check to make sure things are working properly. You do want to check that because some things have changed. The way certain calls are made have changed, but not always. I have a very complicated, I won't say super complicated, but it's rather complicated way of using dynamic effects and now dynamic active effects to summon things from spells. So like Mage Hand summons a token of Mage Hand for exactly 1 minute. A spiritual weapon summons spiritual weapons token for exactly 1 minute, etc. and so forth. If you would like me to cover said effect in the future, I would be obliged to do it. It is super fun. It is super useful for those who like to add a little bit of automation, a little bit of extra wow and mechanical weight to your games. Having a summoning like spell automated, it is a godsend. It also, your players will love it. They can click it. They don't have to wait for you to drag a token out. They don't have to, they don't have to keep track, and you don't have to keep track of how long it's been out, how long it's supposed to be out. It will disappear automatically when its time is done. It is just amazing. So if you would like to see that next, go ahead, let me know down in the comments. If you would like to see how to sort of confer, armor bonuses, or not so much armor bonuses, because I'll go ahead and show you this right now. In Dynamic Active Effects, in the module settings, in the configure settings menu, we go up to Dynamic Active Effects. There's a bunch of extra things here we didn't cover. Auto calculate armor class, just click that and it will automatically do that for you, and you will see that in active effects, and so forth and so on. In fact, we'll do that real quick. We'll just go plate armor. We'll add that to them. You could have it set to only doing it on equipped, which is how it's set. So equipped 18, unequipped not. When it's equipped, you can see that it is armor. When it's not equipped, it says disabled, but it doesn't go away, so it's nice to know what effects it's qualifying for but are not actually working or are not currently enabled. That being said, you delete it, doesn't hurt anything. It works seamlessly when it's out of the inventory. So yeah, but if you would like to see how to do, say, magic items, say like this magic item right here, it adds a plus bonus to spell attack and spell save DC. If you would like to see something like that, if you would like to see how to do certain spells, maybe spells that do certain effects, like, I don't know, we've already done conditions. Let's say spells that do things like confer a 1d4 bonus, like guidance, things like that. Let me know what you would like to see from Dynamic Active Effects next, or if there's a module that you like, let me know, and I will look at it, see if I already use it. If I do, I will go ahead and make a video on it. If it is not a video, or if it's not a module I use, I will learn about it and do it, because I think that modules are a great thing, and there's not a lot of content for modules, unfortunately, currently, and until somebody better comes along, I'm hoping to sort of remedy that. Again, King of Lego Talk and Rambling, I am sorry I have prolonged this video even more so than I need to, even though it's all done. Hopefully you left a long time ago, because man, I'm just rambling now. But one more time, the command for transferring over DE to DAE, Dynamic Effects to Dynamic Active Effects, will be in the description. You will want to use the console again, F12 for Windows, to do that. You will want to enter it here to be precise. I will have the links to all the modules that are utilized in this, and I will also sort of tell you which ones are required, which ones are not. But then just check the video to remind yourself why they're required, just in case you forgot. Because again, it was like an age ago, because I tend to ramble on and go on too long about other stuff. So, and then one last time, tell me what you would like to see next. The next video, however, will be, and I'll hopefully get that out today, if my voice lets me, if sort of my schedule lets me, MIDI quality. Last time it was a disaster. It was broken, and my voice was sort of very quiet, as people pointed out. I will be doing a video hopefully today. If not, I'll be doing it tomorrow, and I will be getting that out to you as soon as possible on, you know, how to set up MIDI quality, how to do it right, because there are some changes, so you know it's not all lost. And I will keep the other video up still, just in case, for historical purposes and reference, just as with the old dynamic effects video. With that said, that is going to be where I leave you for the day, or at least for the hour. So yes, let me know if you have any tips or hints how I can make this a little bit better for you. Maybe I could take the time to sort of put segmented sections in the time bar, since I am, again, the king of Lego talk and rambling. It might be useful. It might make these videos a little bit more digestible, palatable, and, you know, bearable. But yes, again, what you want to see next in the comments, all the information in the description. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you have, you know, not passed out from boredom. Hopefully this wasn't too unbearable for you. See you next time.